Where the hell did I spawn? Why can't I find any loot in this town? Where am I supposed to go? If you find yourself asking these questions when spawning in on Sakhal, well, this is the guide for you. For this loot route guide, we're starting off in Rudnogorsk, which has been my most common spawn so far. I'm going to show you how to navigate without a map or compass to several lucrative military bases, hunting areas, and finally the coolest cave I've found on the map so far. If you find this helpful, please remember to like and subscribe so you can learn more helpful loot routes and become a master of Sakhal. Rudnogorsk is located on the northeastern part of the map. This is what the sign looks like, so you'll recognize it. Another way you'll know you spawned here is when you see the harbor with these water towers or the police department right across from the tech building, and these coal piles. Now normally I'd tell you the first thing you should do is make a fire and find some fresh water to drink. However, there's so much loot in this town that I recommend you start by heading to the small military area in the harbor. Besides, we're gonna hit the spring on the way out of town. This area has a fire department which will spawn warm clothes and maybe even a fire axe. There's also a small military area that might spawn some warm clothes or a pistol. And in these warehouse buildings you can find some medical tents for, you guessed it, medicine. Here's a quick view with ESP for you to screenshot and look through at your convenience. Next, we're going to travel northwest further into town to get ourselves some protection and prepare to leave the spawn town. In this area, we want to loot the police guard shack and police department to hopefully find a stab vest and maybe even a pistol. Unfortunately, you're not going to find a pump action shotgun or an SSG here because we're still in a tier 1 town. More info on Sakhal's tier system in my loot guide. Regardless, the stab vest makes this area worth visiting, and it's on our way to the civilian section of town. This area could have a little bit of everything: warm clothing, frozen food, civilian guns, and maybe even a safe place to make a fire. Loot your way down the road until you see the hiking trail here. Make a right and follow the trail to the spring. Drink up and fill up as many containers as you possibly can because this is going to be our last spring for a while. There are frequently sheep in this area, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to get some meat for the road. Remember, boiled meat provides more hydration than baked. Another great tip is to make a fire or make a torch so you top off your heat buff while getting hydrated. Once your stomach and containers are full of water, head south and hop back on the main road that heads west. You'll quickly lose the road, so follow the trail markers to our next destination. If you feel like it, take a little trip down this path to the right and check out the nearby cave. Cross the bridge and carry on until you begin to emerge from the woods. You should be able to see the volcano in the distance. At this wooden bridge, make a left and you'll be at your first military base. This base has several medical tents, which will hopefully provide you with chelating tablets and other life-saving medicines. For military, be sure to loot the tents, the wooden structures, the sandbag compounds, and also the helicopter crash. I'd also kill any military zombies here for potential plate carriers and ammo. There are also these scientific research buildings where you are basically guaranteed to find a scientific briefcase key. The volcano should be easily visible from here, and the dead scientist can spawn in these spots along the marked trail. You're not going to find him every time, but the loot in here is very valuable, so it's worth keeping in mind if you feel like a detour. This is a tier 2 area, so powerful weapons like SKSs and Saigas can spawn here. I haven't been so lucky, and I'm pretty much only finding scorpions, pistols, and hostile enemies. Now we're gonna leave this area going southeast. You should be able to see an observatory in the distance. Head towards that. It couldn't hurt to stop at these hot springs to get the heat buff along the way. Well, it could hurt, you might get shot, but if you don't, carry on towards the dump truck on the hill. Now this area is a little spread out, but it's worth hitting everything here. First, we have the industrial areas, which could have base building supplies, chelating tablets, melee weapons, or clothing. The area down here even has some military buildings for you to loot. Next up, we have the observatory. If you ever see one of these on a hill, it's worth checking out because it's going to lead you to a military base like this one. Nothing massive, but it's worth looting for more tier 2 military equipment. Don't forget to check the balcony on the observatory. Finally, we have one of my favorite locations on Sakhal, the prison. I've had some really fun fights here. This area has a ton of barracks, a large military building, watchtowers, and tons of loot. You can even find guns on the nearby radio tower, so check that out if you're feeling brave. This is where you're going to find a press vest, SSG, pump-action shotguns, and other valuable items. You don't want to skip it. Now, depending on the order in which you looted things, you'll want to follow the road southwest from the industrial or the road directly west out of the prison to Lezagorfka, one of the 2 best locations to find hunting gear. Finding hunting gear has been my biggest challenge on Sakhal, so this place is very special to me. I always find several weapon cleaning kits, rifles, and scopes here. It also has a spring down this hiking trail on the north end of town. Directly west of Lezagorfka is Dolanovka, which is also a great spot for hunting loot. For reference, here's the industrial, military, and prison area that we checked out earlier. Now to get to our next destination, head up the hill to the right of the 2 radio towers. Keep going up the hill until you crest the mountain and you'll see a military base, which is going to be our next destination. This place is pretty self-explanatory. It's another tier 2 area, so SKSs, Saigas, ammo, and plate carriers on zombies are all going to be here. Loot up, and when you're ready, exit west towards our final destination. Before we do that though, let's review where we've been so far. We've spawned in Rudnogorsk and followed this trail to the volcano base camp. Then we cut southeast towards the industrial, prison, and observatory areas. From there we went west towards Lezagorfka and Dolanovka for hunting gear. We then went south over the mountains towards this military base where we're exiting to the west. Aim for the mountaintops, and when you crest it, look for the downed trees. On the right, you're going to see an alcove, which is the location of a cave with some pretty cool Easter eggs that I'm not going to spoil for you. You're going to have to find it for yourself to find out what's inside. I'm leaving you in a great spot to continue exploring. Carry on west, and I promise you'll find some interesting things that I plan on covering in future loot route guides. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, remember to like, subscribe, and check out my other guide and adventure videos. Good luck, guys.